Welcome back to day 48 of online learning. Today we're going over Unit 8, Lesson 2.4. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be focusing on both division word problems and what should we be doing with the extras in problems, and also being able to multiply two-digit numbers by one-digit numbers. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull up our lesson goals and objectives and our standards for today's video. Our goals and objectives for today are that I will be able to figure out what to do with the remainders or the leftovers in a division problem depending on the story context. So that means depending on what the story is asking you to do, you're able to figure out what should I be doing with the parts that are left over or remain. And also I will be able to multiply two-digit numbers by one-digit numbers. And if you look below, that's what our standards are for today's video. What I want us to do now is we're going to go over problem number 3 from your have to yesterday on page 501. So what I want you to do is pull up page 501 from our have to yesterday. That way we can go over this problem. So it says there are 86 second graders. The teachers want to put them into groups of 4. How many groups can the teacher make? What I want you to do is pause me. Since I don't see this being done on your own have to's, what I want you to do is now pause me and take notes of this problem, saying the number of groups, the number in each group, and the total number in this story problem. In this problem, it says that there are 86 second graders. So the total number I know is going to be 86 students. And I know that because I know that we're not going to get any more students. That's the max we have. The teachers want to put them into groups of 4. So if they're going to be made of groups of 4, I know that there's going to be 4 in each group. And the question is, how many groups can the teachers make? So what we're trying to figure out is the number of groups that we can make. So pause me and think about an equation that I can use to represent if there's 86 students and I'm putting 4 students in a group, how many groups can I make? An equation that I would use to represent this would be 86 divided by 4 equals what? So 86 represents my total number, or the number of students, that I'm breaking into groups of 4 in each, and now I need to figure out how many groups can I make. What I want you to do now is pause me and take a look at your work and try to figure out, did I solve this correctly? And if not, take some time to try to solve it correctly now before we go over it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to think about how many groups of 4 can I make. So one way for me to think about this is think about how many groups could I make until I get to 10 groups or 20 groups. Think about how many groups do I know that I can make with 4 in each. So one way for me to think about this is flip it and think about it as if it's a multiplication problem. So 86 divided by 4 can also be 4 times what equals 86. So I'm going to break this down. I'm going to break it down by first thinking about equations that I know. So pause me and think about, what equation do you know right on the top of your head that's going to be less than 86? 4 times what is something that's less than 86? So I know that 4 times 10 is equal to 40. So that means that I can make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 groups, and each of these have 4. And I get to 40, because 4 times 10 is 40. But I need to get to 86. So pause me and think, I can keep going. What else can I figure out will get me to 86? So if I already have 40, I know that 40 plus 40 is equal to 80. So I know that I can do another 4 times 10. And make another 10 groups with 4 in each. Because now, if I have 40 and 40, right here I have 80. So I have 80 students so far that are placed in groups. Pause me and think about how many do I have that are left over right now that I still need to be using? Or think about how many do I have left so far that are still able to be put into another group? So if I have 80 and I need to get to 86, I can make one more group and put 81, 82, 83, 84. So here I have, if I put all together, all of this is 84 students. So now think about how many do I have left and can I put them in a group of 4? So I would still have 2 students that are left over. Pause me and think about how many groups did I just make with 4 people in each? So I did 4 times 10 groups, and then I did 4 times 10 groups. So I did 10 groups plus 10 groups plus 1 group that I have down here with the 4 to get from 80 to 84. So I have 21 groups. So I have 21 full groups. How can I write this with those 2 students that are left over? It's saying the teachers want to put them into groups of 4. How many groups can the teachers make? Pause me and think about what am I going to say to include these 2 students that are left over. So if I was to think of this, I would do 86 divided by 4 would be 21 groups, because that's how many groups I have with 4. But now I need to think how many do I have left over? With 2 students left over. So what I did here is I broke down this division problem into problems that I know. I don't know what 86 divided by 4 is, or what 4 times what equals to 86, but I do know that 4 times 10 is 40, and another 4 times 10 is 40. So if I added up those 2 groups that I made, where there's 10 total groups, I would have 20 plus the 1 group that I can still make with the 4 that I got from 80 to 86, and then I have 2 left over. What I have here is another story problem. And what I've noticed that we need a lot of help in is figuring out how to multiply 2-digit numbers by 1-digit numbers. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go over our have to, or a problem from our have to from Monday. And we're gonna go over this to think about how can I break this up into something that's easy for me to multiply with. So it says Miss Santos sells bags of oranges at her store. There are 8 oranges in each bag. Becky bought 12 bags of oranges. How many oranges did she buy? What I want you to do is pause me and break down taking notes of the rules into number of groups, number in each group, and the total number. It's really helpful and important that you break down your notes like this, because it's very clear what you're trying to figure out and what information the story problem has already told you. So pause me now, and using the same format, I want you to take your own notes of this problem. So in this problem, it says Miss Santos sells bags of oranges at her store. There are 8 oranges in each bag. So number in each group would be 8 oranges. Becky bought 12 bags of oranges. So the number of groups would be 12 bags. How many oranges did she buy? So what we're trying to figure out is how many oranges, if there's 8 oranges in 12 bags, what is my total number? So pause me and think about what an equation can be to represent this problem. To represent this problem, I know that I'm trying to figure out my total. So what I need to figure out is if there's 12 bags and 8 oranges in each bag, how many oranges did she buy altogether? And what we've been doing is we've been going over how can we use arrays to help us solve multiplication problems with more than one digit numbers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a picture of a box. And I'm going to make this rectangle my array. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to think about my numbers 12 and 8 as the dimensions. So I'm going to make 12 down here and 8 up here. So it's going to basically be like I'm acting like this box or this story problem is an array. Now what I want you to do is pause me and think about a number that I can break up, two numbers that I can break 12 into that are easy for me to multiply. So I see 12 has 2 digits, so that's the number that I'm going to break up. So I'm going to break it up into two numbers that are easy for me to multiply, so I'm going to break it up into the tens and the ones. So I see that there's 1 10, so I'm going to make 10 up here. And if I'm making 10 here, that means that I need to do 2, because 10 plus 2 equals 12. Pause me and think about, if I just made this dimension 10, what would my equation be that I'm going to put in this box? In this box, I'm going to put 10 times 8. I'm going to keep 8 the same because I'm not changing this at all. I'm only changing 12. And over here, I'm going to make it 2 times 8. Pause me and figure out what 10 times 8 is. Ten times 8 is equal to 80. Now pause me and think about what 2 times 8 is. And 2 times 8 is equal to 16. So right now what I have is two products that I broke up. So now what I need to do is add them together. I broke apart 12, so now I need to add these together. So 80 plus 16, I see that there's 8 tens and 1 10, so that would be 9 tens. And then 0 ones plus 6 ones would be 6. So my answer is 96. So what we did is we drew a model or a visual model to help us visualize how we're breaking apart 12. Another way for me to think about this is I broke up 12 into 10 and 2, and I'm going to keep 8 the same. So I broke up 10 and 2 from 12, but I kept 8 the same. So 10 times 8 is 80, and 2 times 8 is 16, which again equals 96. As long as you keep one answer the same, and you split up the other into two numbers that add to that number, your answer is going to be the same product as if you just did 12 times 8, which is equal to 96 oranges. For your have-to today, you're working on quiz 1. So there's 5 questions that you need to be answering, and when you are answering these questions, it's so important that you're showing your work. By showing your work, it doesn't only help you figure out the answer easier and better, but it also helps me figure out where I can help you next. If you're not showing me work, I don't know how you got to your answer, and I don't know where to help you. So I'm going to pull up your have-to for today that I need to make sure that you do independently, and also show your work for every problem to get full credit. Here is your have-to for today. It's Unit 8, Quiz 1. So there are 5 different questions. And what I have written up here, I said to make sure to take notes of the rules of the problem. So that means how many groups, how many are in each group, and the total number. Write an equation and then show your work for every problem. If you don't show your work for every problem, you're going to get points taken off because I need to see how you figured out your answer. So make sure to take your time with this and solve 1 through 5 and make sure you show your work that either on here or on a piece of paper and submit a picture of that piece of paper. That way I'm able to see it. Now let's take a look at your have-to slide for today. Here is your have-to slide for today. You need to complete quiz 1 and make sure to show your work to receive full credit. And just to make sure that you understand this is done completely independently, so by yourself. And then also practice your facts I'm working on division flashcards for 10 minutes, and then do 15 minutes of IXL only on the highlighted skills. And your success criteria is that I use strategies to solve multiplication and division word problems, and I showed my work for each problem. In order to get a 3, you need to say that I worked on all the problems on quiz 1, showed my work, practiced my basic facts, and did 15 minutes of IXL.